Hey guys, welcome back to Ashark Books. Today I'm here to do my June Part 2 wrap-up. So I'm in a different setting. I'm on the bed because it's the only place in my house that hasn't been packed yet. So hopefully you guys don't mind, just a little bit more of a relaxed setting video, but I'm excited to talk about the books I read for the second half of the month. So the first book I read was A Lady's Prerogative by Annabelle Anders. I don't know if you can even see this because of the glare, but so I'm going to put it down in a second, but it has a really pretty cover, so I hope you can see it. So I was actually sent this book for review from the author, and I really enjoyed it. So this book follows our main character, Natalie. At the beginning of the book, she has kind of spited or turned down her fiance, and back then that was just not done, you know, especially by the woman. So she's kind of had to go to the country to kind of fix her reputation, and she's just tired of it. She's kind of tired of how women were treated back then, and she doesn't think it's fair that when women make a choice like that, which by the way, she made it for a very good reason, and she's a very good person for turning her fiance down. But you know, men don't get faulted for this kind of thing, whereas women have to kind of go into seclusion. So that's where it starts with her. And then our main hero is named Garrett, and he has a really kind of hard background. His father was a just awful person, so his family name has a really bad reputation, and he's kind of trying to come from the ashes and kind of fix it. I just really loved this book. It was kind of everything I want from a Regency romance. Natalie and Garrett had wonderful chemistry, so they meet at her family's country estate because he is a friend of her brother, and it was just really cute. I give it 5 out of 5 stars, and I highly suggest Annabelle Anders because I loved her writing and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. The second book I read this month was Getting Schooled by Emma Chase, which I don't have a copy of because I listened to it on Audible, and I highly suggest this if you have Audible or the romance package or both. It was exclusively released first for Audible, but it is now available in paperback or Kindle as well. So I love Emma Chase. She does no wrong. I love the way she writes the male perspective, and this was just so fun. This one was in dual perspective though, so female and male. So this follows 2 teachers, and it's definitely a second chance romance. Basically, our 2 main characters were high school sweethearts, and they were like the perfect couple. He was the jock, she was like the drama queen in drama club, and for reasons that were very normal, they made sense, the reasons that they broke up. It wasn't necessarily anything, you know, really dramatic. It was just normal growing up problems, and they've been apart for quite a long time because I think they're both now in their mid 30s or early 30s. So they've had a life, they've kind of gone apart, but they come back together, and I just loved it. It was so cute. You guys know I'm not always big on second chance romances, but this one was adorable. Our main male character already lives in town. He's the football coach and a history teacher, and our female character has to come back to town due to helping her family, and it kind of goes from there. It was adorable. If you want a good contemporary, check Getting Schooled by Emma Chase. So the next 2 books I read were in the same series, and that was A Promise of Fire and A Breath of Fire, both by Amanda Boucher, and they are the first 2 books in the Kingmaker Chronicles. So I think I briefly mentioned this in another video. I loved these. I read this one, Betty read this one, and we both really enjoyed it. It's such a fun fantasy romance. I've been in such the mood for a fantasy romance lately, and this just hit the spot. It was so good. I will say it was pretty heavy on the romance, so if you're someone who are like fantasy and you're okay with that, highly suggest. But if you're someone who maybe doesn't want that much, it might be a little too much romance for you. But it was so good. Basically, it follows our main character, Kat, who in the beginning of this book is a soothsayer, and she's in a circus, and you can kind of figure out from the beginning that she's kind of hiding from something, but we don't know what. And then our main male character, Griffin, comes to the circus and kind of finds her and figures out that she has all this power and wants to, in a way, use her, because he wants to use her because his family has recently taken over the throne of this magical land. So basically that's how the story starts off. Obviously there's a lot more to it. I love the way they worked in Greek mythology into this, because a lot of times you either have Greek mythology or fantasy elements, but not both. I thought it was really well done. The romance between Kat and Griffin was perfect. I loved it. Griffin was definitely an alpha male, which I kind of like, but I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. But I will say, I thought that the author did a good job of kind of toning it down at times. It got a little out of hand, you know, with his alpha maleness, but then she's kind of toned it down. And the thing is, Kat could just give it back to him because she was such a strong character, and I think that made the difference. You know, she wasn't a weakling. So I highly suggest. I read the first 2 books. I'm not going to say much about the second book because it'll give too much away, but I gave them both 5 out of 5 stars, and I cannot wait to get to the third one. I'm just kind of trying to read a few more things first, but I'm definitely going to read it soon. If you like fantasy romance, go pick up this year. The next book I read was The Kiss Quotient, like everyone else in the world, because it's amazing. I was a little nervous going into this one because it was so hyped, and sometimes hyped books don't meet the mark, you know, because you build them up so much in your head. But I will admit this one was just as cute. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars too. I had a really good reading month. I mean, most of the books I read were either a 4 or 5 star. So if you don't already know, this one follows our main female character, Stella, who basically has been diagnosed with autism, and she is working. She's a very, very smart woman, and she's very career driven, but she doesn't understand love, or she doesn't really understand all the social cues and aspects that you need to be in a relationship. So she decides she's going to hire a male escort to kind of show her the ways because she wants to figure it out. In comes our male character named Michael, who, while he is a male escort, I thought he was one of the most relatable characters I've ever read. Him and Stella both. Just, it was wonderful. I loved how we got to see his background as well as hers, because she was such a well-developed character that I felt like he could have been pushed to the wayside, but he wasn't. You got to see his family, you got to see kind of his background and what kind of led to certain decisions he's made in his life. The two of them together were the cutest thing on this planet, and I can't say enough good things about this book. If you want a cute contemporary that also just really touches on so many important elements, I would really suggest this one. The next book I read, I also listened to on audio, so I don't have with me, but that was Say You'll Remember Me by Katie McGarry. And I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. This one was very cute. So it was a YA romance contemporary, and I've always loved Katie McGarry. I think her books are just fantastic. I've read most of her other works. This one follows the daughter of, I believe he's the governor, so very well known. She's always had a lot of responsibility kind of placed on her, and her parents want her to be perfect, and it follows this guy who, her father has started this program to kind of help people who have been in trouble in their youth, kind of get them a second chance program to keep them from kind of going down a bad path towards jail when they get older. And the main male character has been chosen. He was in juvie and he's gotten out, and he's kind of been chosen to be like their star pupil and kind of show how this program is going to work. And the two of them meet and basically fall in love and get a relationship. It was really cute. I mean, it was a little stereotypical, and it was not anything that was that different, but I still really enjoyed it. I loved the characters. Katie McGarry just writes young characters in a way that really makes sense, but doesn't downgrade their intelligence, and it makes them seem like real teenagers. I think they were 18 in this book, and just the decisions they faced were real decisions, and I really, really enjoyed it. Again, if you want to really like contemporary read, Say You'll Remember Me was really cute. I loved the kind of dynamic between the good girl and the bad boy, but he really wasn't a bad boy, so I just loved it. The next one I read was Act Like It by Lucy Parker. This one, again, was a contemporary read. I've read quite a few contemporaries this month, and this one was really cute. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This one everyone had been telling me to read, so I finally picked it up and listened to it on audio as well. And this one follows the main characters that are on the London West End stage. Basically, they have to start this kind of fake relationship to save the male character's kind of reputation, and the female character's just kind of like forced to go along with it in a way. But he's the grumpy, broody guy, and she kind of seen as the more like perfect person. No one's perfect, she's not. But it was just really cute to watch them kind of fall in love. If you like books about like actors or any kind of like stage actors, it was so cute. I loved the audiobook for it, and I really just liked the way that Lucy Parker described kind of the world with the paparazzi and all the pressure, and it was really cute, and it was definitely worth reading. And the last book I read this month was A Daring Arrangement by Joanna Shupe. So I'm not going to say too much about this because this is our book club book of the month for the Sweeney Reads Book Club, so we're going to be talking about it tomorrow, July 2nd, so definitely come check it out. But I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was so cool. Gilded Age New York was a perfect setting. It was so different. I hadn't read anything in that time period, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, so come join in to talk about it. Okay guys, so those are all the books that I read this month. Let me know what your favorite book of the month was, or if you've read any of these. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.